Welcome everybody. As mentioned, my talk is titled Galvanize Your Career Growth with Google Cloud Training. I'm going to talk about the Google Cloud certifications that are available and how you get started with training on Skills Boost. That's the main things. I have a lot of material, so I'm going to go very quickly. I will try to have some questions. I have some interesting use cases at the end, what I call success stories of people who got certified. And I'd like to save enough time for those, and then there should be some time for Q&A. I don't think we have a session following this one, so we can perhaps, I'm happy to stay a little bit after as well. But we'll try to finish on time for those who have other commitments. So this is me. I'm a freelance consultant. I work with Google Cloud Technology for 7 years. I'm also an organizer. Let me see, my clicker has suddenly decided not to work. That should, no. Oh. Sorry, give me 1 second to get the clicker working. Well, I'll have to do it. I'll have to advance with, I can advance it with the mouse, that's fine. No, it's okay. It should work, but let me try this. Okay, I'll just do it with the mouse, that's fine. So a little bit about myself. I am a Google Champion Innovator, which is one of the community programs that Google sponsors. I'm also an organizer at GDG Cloud Boston, so I came here to Calgary from Boston. I've had about 25 years working with databases and data warehouses and data lakes, as we call them today. As I mentioned, 7 years in Google Cloud, and 2 years in FinOps, which is cloud cost optimization. And we're not speaking about that today, but it does have some relevance to what we're doing, which I'll mention later. So my interests are in cloud training and curriculum development, FinOps, data lakehouse and warehouse, and more recently, of course, Gen AI apps for the enterprise, design and build. I'm not too interested in the consumer-facing side of Gen AI, but I am interested in connecting foundation models to corporate data stores. All of us have, the GDEs and Champion Innovators, we all have a certification wall of fame. I have about a dozen certifications. There are people that have every Google cert and every AWS cert and every Azure cert, and I have somebody in my LinkedIn has over 110 certifications. I'm not sure why. I'm going to tell you why I have these and my strategy for getting them and what the benefits are of certification. But I don't advocate that you try to get over 100. The people that I know that I've talked to, they're not cheating in any way. They're not like going on to like exam dump websites and getting all the answers. They're actually legitimately know all this stuff. I have no idea how you could learn all 3 clouds in great depth, but they do. So I have 4 Google certs. Those are the one that I'm talking about mostly today. These are my pro level certs. I also have Cloud Digital Leader, which is called a foundational cert. It lets me talk to business people in their language. That's why I got that one. I have a couple of certs from the FinOps Foundation down here. These are called FinOps Certified Engineer, FinOps Certified Practitioner. Those are 2 of their certs. They also have a pro level cert, which is extremely difficult to get, so I don't have that one. I have an Oracle, what's called Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, which is Oracle's cloud. I have a associate level cert with Oracle, and I recently got a couple of, so I'm a teacher also at Data Warehouse Conferencing, which is this TDWI is an education conference for data warehousing, and I got an AI cert and a BI cert from that organization. I'll explain, other than this, the bragging, I will explain why I'm showing you this in a few minutes. It is actually very relevant. So we're going to talk about benefits of certification, how to define your goals, understand the knowledge gaps that you may have, do your self-assessment, develop a study plan, find your community, all important to find your community, and then I'll share some success stories of a few people that have gone through some of these steps to get certified. Oops, what happened there? Yeah, I don't know why. Interesting. Oh, now it's suddenly working fine. All right, good. Everyone has a unique journey, and you're all starting from different backgrounds, and you have different goals and different aspirations, and you have different work-life balance. So you do you, okay? Nobody knows what you want to do better than you do. And I will say this also, these are my own views. They are not a Google policy by any means. They're also not shared by all other trainers. I think they're sensible, but in the end of the day, they're suggestions for you to consider. They're not prescriptions in any way, okay? So take it with a grain of salt. We already did this one. Oh, no, here we go. So benefits of certification, well, sometimes it's actually required for your job. So I'm aspiring to become a Google authorized trainer for some of the training companies, so professional trainer. For that, you can't even apply until you have certain certifications. So cloud architect and data engineer, those are the basic ones that are required. It also just gives you increased confidence, especially if you're beginning or you're new to cloud. You'll have more confidence, you'll have validation of the skills that you think you may have, you're not quite sure. So it gives you a way to calibrate against other people. You could prepare for a promotion or a new job role within your company. Or you could either sometimes, it's easy to get typecast and stagnated in a company or in a job role. So sometimes if you go to your manager and say, look, I got 2 certifications, I've been studying very hard, I want to have an expanded role. And if that doesn't go anywhere, then start looking for a different job, get your resume ready. Now, because you need some training to get certification, you actually get a lot of benefits directly from the training also. So it's not just the piece of paper that you put on your wall of fame, but you actually get the, you'll be able to build better apps with better performance, greater reliability, and lower cost. Your engineering will be more stronger, and you'll be a better developer. You'll learn how to build new apps in new areas. So let's say you haven't done data engineering, or you're just new to BigQuery, and you learn about, well, how do you load massive amounts, terabytes of data into BigQuery? Well, that's a data engineering skill. If you don't know how to do that, you can learn that from the data engineer learning path that I will describe. And all of us are, by definition, relatively new to generative AI. So if you want to know how Gen AI works, maybe you should get some training. And it's also possible just to dive in and learn by trial and error, but I do recommend very much get the training, get the fundamentals under your belt, and then you'll be in a stronger position. The last point is super important. Improved collaboration. I'm going to really explain this in detail, but getting training and certified helps you be a better team member and a better collaborator. And I really want to explain why I believe this. So let me take a brief aside. Many people in my position, like trainers and GDG leaders, we say, you should get certified because you'll get a better job, or if you're looking in the job market, you'll get instantly hired as soon as you're certified. Well, I can tell you that's not the case. Okay, that's not the way it works. There is not, and Google says this, Google Cloud certifications are among the highest paying IT certs in 2023. I don't say that that's incorrect. I'm sure it is correct. I'm sure they have the research to back it up. It's Google, they have all the data, right? But I will point out to you, the correlation is not causality, okay? And here's how I think. I don't think there's a straight linear line to causality here. What I think is going on, there's a confounding factor. There are confounding factors that are qualities that you can develop yourself that will lead to certain things. Those factors are curiosity. If you are a data scientist, the most important thing, because technology is shifting all the time, if you're a data scientist, the critical skill is critical thinking and curiosity, and how to build and design experiments. That's what you need to be if you want to be a good data scientist. Okay, all the other stuff you can learn, but if you don't have curiosity, you may as well quit. ABL. Who knows what ABL means? Anybody? Always be learning. Thank you. Goes along with curiosity. Always be learning lifestyle. Okay, if you have these two things on the left side, you will have better job performance, you'll be a better collaborator, and you're more likely to have certifications because it all kind of goes together. But I just want to say, it's not this like simple straight line, oh, if I get 2 certs, I'm going to get a raise or get more money or better job. I don't think it hasn't been my experience, and I think it's a little naive to suggest that's the way it works. Let me give you another important concept. I call it the T-shaped skill set. Okay, you should aspire to have good general knowledge. I was not trained as a computer science person. I majored in biology and physics in college. I have a PhD in neurobiology, which on the face of it has very little to do with computer science. But it did give me skills about how to learn things and how to take on new fields of endeavor. That's what I took away from my graduate school years, okay? And so what I learned is this idea that you need to have a good general knowledge like software engineering or how compilers work or how databases work or even maybe how encryption works. That's like general software engineering knowledge is a great thing to have. That's your top of your T, okay? Everybody follow what's going on here? The T shape, the top of your T. That's what gives you the ability to collaborate and work well with teams and work well with other people. Now, you also need expertise in a certain critical area. Each one of you must have an expertise, or if you're a student, you're working on developing expertise in a certain area that interests you. And if you don't have that, you're never going to get a job, right? Because you can't, it's very rare just to go, oh yeah, I'm a CS grad. I'm not sure really what I want to do with that, but that's not going to get you a job, right? You have to have good general knowledge and you have to have a focus on a particular area. Now, for me, okay, this is not my idea. I got this from a book called Analyzing the Analyzers. It's an old book. It's relatively, not new, I would say, not old, but also not new. It's maybe from 10 years ago. And it's written about how data scientists operate within teams and all the different skills that you have to have as a data scientist. So it's like, data prep, data engineering, building models, putting those models into production with ML ops, all that stuff. So there's a lot of different skills that they've called it analyzers here. And this is where they talk about T-shaped skill sets in chapter 4 of this book. I think it's available as a booklet. If I have a PDF of it that I got, not by cheating or violating any copyright, but if you can't find it online, it's something I can send you later. It's a great thing. Now, because I am old, or as one of my colleagues says, I'm experienced, right? I have not just one expertise on my downstroke of the T, but I have multiple. So now it's not like it's a T with multiple down legs, because this is what, I'm been around for a while. I've been working in databases area for 25 years, and I have more than one expertise. And in particular, I've already said I have data engineering and database skills. I'm interested in FinOps, which is cloud cost management. I'm interested in multi-cloud architectures that are becoming more common as the cloud vendors compete with each other in different ways, and Oracle in particular, that's why I have the OCI, just to preview where I'm going with this. I got the OCI cert because Oracle is a leader in cross-cloud collaboration and in multi-cloud architectures. And it's because they're actually 4th place in the market share of the hyperscalers. It's to their advantage to take this strategy, but nonetheless, it's good for customers as well. So that's why I'm interested in multi-cloud. And like everyone, I'm interested in ML, AI, and generative AI. That's why I got the machine learning engineer certification within the last 2 weeks. I've been studying very hard for that, and I got it very recently. So let me keep going. So now training and certs are a good start, but they're not everything. as I said a couple times, you don't automatically get certified and then walk into a great job. But it will help you in very particular ways. It will help you in two ways. If you're a beginner or new to cloud, or call yourself a newbie or a noogler, whatever, kind of a relatively inexperienced person, if you get training and certification, especially the training, you will avoid rookie mistakes, okay? And I'm going to give you some examples of some rookie mistakes that are easily avoidable, okay? And if you're an experienced developer or a cloud engineer, the training and certs, in my opinion, the level of knowledge that you need to get certified, even at the pro level, is not really enough to take you all the way down to the bottom of the leg of the T, of the downstroke of the T. I think it gets you about a third of the way down. It's the certification, it adds largely to your general knowledge horizontally, and it takes you about a third of the way down on the down leg, but it doesn't get you all the way there. You have to have real world experience coupled with it. And that's where you, like, when you face challenges of, building something and it works great, but the performance is terrible. What do you do? How do you solve that problem in production? Or when you built something and your data engineering pipeline fails on the weekend and you get called out of bed and have to fix it. That's where you gain more experience. That's what gives you the deep expertise that brings that T all the way down to the ground level. But this is the way you get started. And as I said, most importantly, having this training and background and this attitude of always be learning will make you a better collaborator, and team leads will want you on their team, and your collaborators will be happier with you, to work together with you. And hopefully you can instill these values in your colleagues as well, and it will just lead to a better work culture all around, okay? Now, how are we doing on time? 3:20. I think I have enough time for these. I'm going to go really fast, though. They're kind of interesting. These are fictionalized accounts, but they are based on things that really happened, and you can read about them mostly on LinkedIn. People complain about cost overruns, because that's why I'm interested in FinOps, actually, because a lot of cloud performance problems are not just purely, like, you can solve a lot of performance problem by throwing more hardware at it, and it's because of the elasticity of the cloud and the scalability. We have lots of hardware to throw at it, but it could end up you getting an enormous cloud bill at the end of the month, okay? So that's where we have a little bit of a concern. So some of these things came up because of the cloud bill aspect. So let me just walk you through this. The 3 paragraphs are, we did this, we didn't realize that we had this unintended consequence, and then the third one is, you could have avoided this problem by having some training. Okay, so that's the pattern of these slides. Okay, so we ran queries, and this is BigQuery. This is a BigQuery database. We built some very large multi-terabyte tables, and we were running queries for a week against this set of tables, and the queries performed poorly, and we got a huge cloud bill at the end of the month. And then when we looked into it, we realized we didn't understand that we needed to do partitioning on these large tables. Now, it doesn't matter that you may or may not know what partitioning is, and it doesn't matter. The point is that BigQuery table partitioning is covered extensively in the Pro Data Engineer learning path, and it's one of the most important basic concepts of working with BigQuery that you should learn in the first week or two of using this product, and unless you're having a tiny data set. If your data set is a gigabyte, no worries, do whatever you want. When you get into terabytes and petabytes, which you can easily do, the cloud bills really add up, and it then becomes important to do things correctly. But the training is readily available, okay? And it's basic stuff. Let me give you cloud storage, rookie mistake. This is also something that some companies did. We selected archive as our storage class for Google Cloud Storage objects. It has the lowest cost per month. I'll add parenthetically, we were given a recommendation by an AI enabled cloud management tool, and it suggested that we do this, and we did it. But humans have made the same mistake as well. So this is not just an AI problem or a hallucination problem. Okay, furthermore, we were using a lot of these objects to train models in our Vertex AI pipelines. We didn't realize that archive class storage has a hefty retrieval fee every time we access those objects. And the boss was not happy with the cloud bill at the end of the month. You're seeing this theme here of overspending your budget. Okay, well, the pros and cons of the storage classes are covered extensively in Pro Cloud Architect Learning Path. Choosing the best storage class, or perhaps using auto class, is a fundamental decision when setting up a new environment. Again, it's a really basic thing. That's why I call it a rookie mistake. Let's have an example from machine learning. We split our data, as you do when you train with supervised training models. We split our data into train, eval, and test sets using a key that was correlated with the label. Anybody see a problem with that? Our models performed really well during training and testing, but performed very poorly on data that was not previously seen, that was not part of the training set, in other words. Okay, now this one is a little subtle. Feature engineering is partly an art and partly science. Okay, so there is some measure of experience needed here. Creating proper data splits can sometimes be a little subtle. It's not, unless you know the data really well, it's not always easy to immediately grasp like what is the primary key, so to speak, or the key to that row of data. And you need to understand that or work with people who do. That's why your collaboration skills are so important. You need to be able to talk to your business owners and product owners about what their data means if you're a data engineer. Okay, so there can be some subtlety to this, how you do the splits. But I still call this a rookie mistake because it's covered very extensively in the training path. It used to be in the data engineer learning path. It's now in the pro machine learning path. And there are labs in Skills Boost that go into feature engineering labs. And make sure that another thing you must do is make sure that the features you select for training your model will be available at prediction time. That's another rookie mistake, basically, because that's called training serving skew. If your data is somehow different or differently available at training time versus serving time, you've got a skew that your model will never perform well. Okay, so there's some subtlety to this, but still the way to avoid these problems is to get training, and in particular look into these labs, and there's something called farm fingerprint hash that's available in BigQuery that is really useful for making these splits in a reproducible way and a completely predictable way, but yet they're randomly. That's sort of like what we call pseudo-random, right? So they're random splits, but they're reproducible. Okay, that's it. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my main path, the main story here. Remember I said I have the multiple down legs on it's not a T anymore, it's some other object, I don't know what you call it, but it's a T with a multi down legs, okay? Now, given that understanding, instead of grouping my certs by who gave them to me or what I had to study, let's regroup them to subject areas. So ML and AI, I've got an ML cert from Google, and I have machine learning engineer from Google, and I have an AI cert from GDWI, where I'm also an instructor. Okay, so that's my ML and AI area. For Lakehouse and engineering, I've got both from Google. I've got data engineer and database engineer. Google has 2 certs related to data. Okay, that shows you how important data is. I don't have time to explain why that is, but please talk to me if this is your area. And I also have the BI's business intelligence. That's usually consuming the data and building dashboards and reports and things like that from a data warehouse. Okay, so I've grouped those together. For FinOps, obviously, I've left those grouped as they were. And then I've pulled for multi-cloud, I'm organizing on my multi-cloud down leg. I'm putting my Oracle OCI cert together with my Google Cloud Architect cert. So you see how it's not just, this is my plan. I'm revealing you to my plan. I'm strengthening each of those pillars, on my skill sets by getting these trainings and certifications. Okay, let's keep going. For you, define your goals wherever you are. If you're a beginner, middle, or senior engineer, define your goals. Maybe you want a promotion. Maybe you want to move from individual contributor to a team lead or become a staff engineer in your company. Or, as I said, if you're typecast and stagnated in your present job, you may be wanting to get your resume ready and polish up your resume and get that cert ahead of time, so that you don't have, when you go into that negotiation, you can say, well, this is what I've done in the past, and that's what you're probably going to hire me based on those accomplishments. But I also am indicating my future direction. Maybe it's into AI or data engineering. I'm expressing that interest by doing this certification. You may want a new project within your company, like let's say you want to build a new web app or a new lakehouse application. You've never done that before. This will help you get started. Or if your team is going in that direction, it'll help you be part of that team. I think I'm blocking this part maybe a little bit. A new class of applications. Again, generative AI is new to all of us pretty much. So if you're going to participate and play that game, which I suggest you learn about or consider it, you've got to get some training or skills somehow. You're going to learn it the hard way on the job, or you're going to have to get some training. And again, ABL, always be learning. It basically, at the rate of change of cloud, and particularly with AI and Gen AI, if you're not moving ahead, you're falling behind. Let's face it. It's just a reality. So I'm going to go now. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the certifications that are available. These are the pro level, so-called pro level certs. This changes more often than you would think. The basic ones have been here for 8 or 10 years, but some of the newer ones come and go. There's been a shift, like there used to be a pro level workspace for anybody who's interested in workspace. That's now been converted to an associate level cert. And so I'm focused for this group, and when I run workshops, I recommend that people look at pro level certs. So these are the ones that can really move your career, move the needle a little bit on your career. The associate level, I don't think has that benefit exactly. I'll say more about that in a minute. But the way I've grouped these is, I have cloud architect and data engineer on the left. Those are the most fundamental ones that everybody should at least consider getting. I'm not saying you have to get them or you have to start there, but it's certainly something you should think about starting on that path, okay? Those are the foundation for all of the other 6. And traditionally it's been, for infrastructure folks, it's been security and networking, build on top of cloud architect, and perhaps on data engineer as well. Now, if you're more of a developer, front-end developer particularly, then the cloud developer is good for you. And then likewise DevOps. You probably need to identify with these roles, right? If your job role involves DevOps or SRE type of things, then look at the DevOps engineer certification. Again, cloud database, I've listed these last. Cloud database and machine learning engineer, I've listed these last. They are the most challenging ones to get. They are the hardest exams. They are the hardest training learning paths, okay? So they are maybe not the place to start, although some people do start with the hardest ones. Yes, they do. And so you notice that the database engineer is more, I think it's more difficult and it's more specialized than data engineer. Data engineer involves using BigQuery and building data lakes and data warehouses and pipelines. Everybody that uses Google Cloud should be using BigQuery in some aspect, even in some small aspect. A lot of the Google Cloud tools themselves send data to BigQuery, and it's just very easy to, like your billing data, for example, can be put into BigQuery. That's the easiest way to analyze your billing data, because how are you going to bring 100 million rows of billing data that you might get in a month? You can't bring that into Excel, and even if you could, you'd be lost there forever. So you need to have powerful BI tools to put to work on your billing data. Just as one example, I'm going to briefly, I'm going to skip over this because today, let me tell you where I think it's going today. Google has been expanding the associate certifications. They are now seen as a step, I can see them now as a stepping stone to get to the pro level. So you may want to get an associate level just to get warmed up with Google, to get familiar with things, and then move on to the pro level. I think the real value is in the pro level for most people, but a year ago I would have said that associate cloud engineer is basically useless. This is my opinion only. Not everyone agrees with me, but I thought it was not a stepping stone towards cloud architect, pro cloud architect. Today I think it is, and particularly when they've added data practitioner and workspace administrator, the strategy is now that these are stepping stones to the pro level if you want to make it that way. And this is more in alignment with the way Amazon and Microsoft do their certification pathways. So it's really coming more to the industry standard. The cloud digital leader, I told you I got that just so that I can, it's good to step back and take a big picture look at how business leaders view the cloud and how, in some cases, how little they know about it. And maybe you should explore this certification just so that you can work maybe as a business analyst or a consultant like I am. You can talk to the business leaders without condescending to them and without like throwing a lot of buzzwords at them. So that's why that's useful. Okay, the next thing is, once you decide on what your certification goal is, develop a study plan. How do you do this? Well, you need to assess your work-life balance. Training and certification is really another form of work, in effect. And maybe your employer can help you. It could be to their advantage to have you better trained and be a better collaborator and teammate. So they might help. They might pay for some training or for exam fees, things like that. Or they might give you some time off to help you with your study. Most people need about 150 hours of study and exam prep time per certification. What are you going to give up? Where are you going to get that time? What else are you going to give up? That you're presumably all busy with work, life, family, children, whatever it is. We've all got a lot of stuff going on already, or we wouldn't be here at this DevFest probably. And so if you want that extra time to study and take exams, you got to find it somewhere. Your study habits, I would recommend two things, and I got these from other Google developer experts. GDEs told me this is how they do it. If you're job hunting, time box that activity. If you're constantly on LinkedIn all day and constantly sending in job apps, it's demoralizing for one thing. This is not a great market for most people. It's tough, I get it. But doing it 10 hours a day is going to detract from the mindset you need for learning, okay? It's just the way it is. So time box it, find your balance, but time box it. Disengage from social media apps. Just say no to all the toxic stuff that's out there. Just get rid of it. Remove it from your phone. Take it off of your PC. You might probably have to keep LinkedIn if you're job searching, but this is the advice I got from other GDEs. For the most part, I don't have these to start with, so I didn't have to disengage. I was already there. Now, I want to talk to you about Skills Boost, Credly, and Google Dev. Who knows what Skills Boost is? Anyone? Okay, a few people, not too many though. Okay, let's go into that. You're going to want, when you embark on this learning path, I call them learning path, or a learning program, you're going to use Google Skills Boost. It is their learning platform. Used to be called Quick Labs. Google liked the Quick Labs product so much that they bought the company. Amazon, let me say this, Amazon no longer on Quick Labs, they used to be, and it's now just entirely Google content. And so underneath Skills Boost, it says powered by Quick Labs. It's really a branding change, but now it's called Skills Boost. There are other purveyors of training materials like Coursera and Pluralsight. They're also excellent, but Skills Boost is where you want to go because it's where the content is released first. You have the most content. This is for Google. I'm talking about Google Cloud here. If you want to learn AWS, maybe Coursera and Pluralsight are better choices for you. Or if you want to take Andrew Ng's courses on machine learning, go take them on Coursera. Those are wonderful platforms, but for Google Cloud, you want to go to Skills Boost. As I said, most up-to-date content, broadest amount of content, and in most cases, it's available for free with some conditions, and I'm going to go into that. To get started, you should use a personal Gmail account. Do not use a work Gmail account, because if you leave your job, then all your certs and things are going to be tied to an email that you don't have anymore. So maybe choose your personal Gmail or create a new one. They're free, right? You can create a special one just for this purpose. You want to use that same Gmail ID for Skills Boost, Credly, Slack, and your Google Developer Profile. I'll explain what those are. Credly is, Skills Boost I've already mentioned. Credly is where the exam are, your exams are tracked and your badges for your exam completions and success rate is tracked in Credly, okay? And Slack is often used as an adjunct to the training that we offer. And there's something called the Google Developer Profile. I don't have time to go into what that is, but you can get one for free. And it's best if you can tie all these 4 things to the same Gmail ID. It just simplifies your life. It's really pretty hard to use Skills Boost with a non-Gmail ID. You really, I mean, just get a Gmail, it's free, right? So why would you fight to use something other than Gmail? So Skills Boost content itself, we could do a whole 2 hours just on Skills Boost. I'm giving you the high view here. 1,100 courses, labs, and learning paths. There are 49 different learning paths. I'll say what those are in a minute. Each certification has 1 associated learning path, at least. And PMLE, Machine Learning Engineer, has 2 learning paths. The second one is all about Gen AI. This was a very recent change within the last month, okay? So there used to be one-to-one, 1 certification, 1 learning path. There's so much new content around Gen AI, and the MLE exam now includes a considerable amount of questions on generative AI, as opposed to the predictive AI that is still there. Mostly it is about predictive AI, but there's so much new content around Gen AI and questions that they made a whole entirely new learning path that you can do that is added. I think where am I on time? I'm running late, I think. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna try to wrap up, but I hope you can stay a little late. So when you're in Skills Boost, how do you navigate? There are 2 ways to find what you need in Skills Boost. First of all, go into Skills Boost itself, and I realize I haven't really shown you that UI, but it's easy enough. Go there, go to the Explore button here, and then you get a search window. You can search whatever topic you want. You might be overwhelmed with hundreds of results, right? So a better way to do it sometimes is, if you know you want to train for a machine learning engineer, go to that certification page and then look for this button here called Train for the Exam. Okay, Train for the Exam. Click on that and it'll take you directly to the learning path in Skills Boost. That's the better way to do it, okay? As soon as you snap that, I'm going to change it. Here's my dashboard in Skills Boost. Okay, on the right side is all the learning paths that I'm either started or partly finished or completed. On the left side, I just split out the machine learning ones. So I said there were 2 learning paths. So this is the predictive AI side. I completed 93% of that, right? I'll tell you how I did that in a minute. And then I did the new learning path. I did that to completion. Let me keep going. There's also this leaderboard thing. I won't go into that. I did get into the Diamond League finally, but I'm dropping out because I'm not active. I'm here this week. I'm not doing Skills Boost anymore. Skills Boost Access. It's free for some Google customers. So if you know you're at a place where the Google Cloud is being used, you may have free access. If you can become a Google Cloud Innovator, which is free for anybody with a Gmail account, you have 35 credits per month for anyone. Okay, that was started this summer. It's a very significant change that makes a lot of the training free. All of the video lessons are free in any event. You can go to Skills Boost and watch videos all day long for free. If you want to run labs, they cost credits, and they're either 1 credit or 5 credit per lab. So you can get 35 credits per month for free. That's a modest amount. It's not a huge amount. Like me, I'm a binge watcher and a binge lab runner, so I can go through 200 credits in a month, right? But 35 is enough to be a good start. And then there's something else for GDG organizers that I won't go into. Now, very importantly, there's a program called Road to Google Developer Certification. These are run by GDGs. I hope if you don't know what a GDG is, make that your first thing that you learn here. This event is sponsored by GDG Calgary, so you're already at least partly involved with a GDG, right? So if you're from another area, find your local GDG and find out if they're running any of these Road to Google Developer Certification workshops. The most popular ones are for Cloud Architect and Machine Learning Engineer, but others are also run occasionally. Like I said, find your community. Your local GDG can point you to where there are these programs. These are called certification workshop programs where they're being run. If you have any trouble finding one, contact me. I'll give you my card up here at the end, or find me on LinkedIn. If you join a program, you get Skills Boost access for free, as much as you can use for the duration of that program. So it could be 2 or 3 months. You have all you can eat lab consumption, right, all day long if you want. And you get to learn, more importantly, you get a learning cohort. When we run our workshops, we have a Slack channel that people can participate in. And we also have some swag, which is either a book. Sometimes we get exam vouchers that are worth $200. So that's part of the swag. There's also instructor-led training. I won't go into what that means. Obviously, instructors get paid, so this is a more expensive option than free. And sometimes that you can get a non-paid person, unpaid person can join a class that's being led by an instructor or a cohort that's being led virtually by an instructor. And I'll give you an example of that in a moment. My success stories, this is the last part of the, please bear with me. I hope nobody has to leave like right this minute. My own success story, if I could call it such, is I use a bulldozer approach, because I'm a consultant, so I either have project work with a client or I have free time. And when I have free time is when I binge on training, okay? So I binge watch all the video lessons in a whole learning path over a period of maybe 2, 3, 4 days, whatever it takes. I go top to bottom on all the video lessons, and I absorb all those ideas, and I also look up anything that I don't understand that's unclear. That's how I do it. Then I choose the labs selectively. I did, like you saw, I did 93% completion on that, so I left out maybe a third of the labs for the machine learning engineer because some of them were data prep, which I already know really well from my other certifications. So I knew I didn't have to do those to really be ready for the exam. And so there are these things called challenge labs as well. They are very challenging because most of the labs, they give you very explicit instructions like run this step, paste this code into this window and run it. In the challenge labs, you're just given the requirements at a very high level and you have to figure out every detail yourself. So usually what you need to do is go backwards into the same lesson, the same module. The previous labs will have similar type of experiences that you can then apply to the challenge lab, or you have to look up the documentation, really, which is what you have to do in real world in your job. It's like consult AI or consult documentation to figure out a lot of things yourself. Those are very tough. So I'll skip on. Another part of our success story is I'm from Boston area. We have 3 GDGs in our area. I'm part of GDG Cloud Boston. We also have GDG Lawrence, which is about 30 miles away from Boston Center. We've been running these Road to Google Developer Certification workshops for the last few years. We run, among us, we run about 2 per year, and a lot of participants have gone through, and we have done cloud developer, we've done machine learning engineer several times. I did cloud database engineer over the summer. We've done the associate cloud engineer, which I don't think is a super valuable cert, but nonetheless, it helped a lot of people get started with Google Cloud. And then at Lawrence, they just completed the machine learning engineer again. So we're like a powerhouse in the Northeast, let me tell you, Northeast US. And I want to give you now 2 personal success stories. Uyanga Jung is one of my colleagues at GDG Cloud Boston. She's an organizer there. We have this debate back and forth, like, I'm of the opinion that it's a good idea, if you have time, get the pro cloud architect first, and then try to take on the machine learning engineer. If you go directly to PMLE, you'll have a much harder time learning it. It really will be not so easy just to jump into that. And you'll also, even if you succeed and push through and pass the exam, you'll have a lot of gaps in your knowledge. So I believe you should get pro cloud architect first, then move on to the others. This is what I've said all throughout my talk. I've said this 3 or 4 times now. These are the foundation. Pro cloud architect and pro data engineer are the foundations to the others. Uyanga here has I'll let you read the quote. She says it better than I can. She suggests also very strongly you should get PCA. It was really helpful for her to get the PML, the machine learning engineer. And she's a data scientist, okay, point. She's written this up on LinkedIn in great detail. I'll share these slides with you later so you can get this link later. She wrote up a whole article after we spoke last weekend. It was really interesting. Another colleague, so there are student club programs now at universities and colleges. These are now called, they used to be called Google Developer Student Clubs. They are now called GDG On Campus. Okay, they've been rebranding to make them more equivalent to the GDGs that we run as professionals. And they are actually equivalent. Okay, and we collaborate extensively with the GDG at the Hult International Business School. Fayzal Olushi, a good friend of mine, he was able to get free access to one of the instructor-led cohorts that he went to the Google Next conference, and he got a pass or a ticket to go to the instructor-led training. He then took the machine learning engineer certification directly without having any other previous Google certification. So he's been working in Google Cloud, but not a tremendously, not like years and years of experience, right? So he went directly to MLE and succeeded. So this is not the path that I recommend, but you can definitely do it, and he did it. So this is a great example. So my summary is, everyone's path is unique. Find your own way to do things. You know what your goals are. You know what your other commitments are. You need to assess what your learning style is, and find your community. That's really the big message here. Find your community. Don't try to do this alone. It's a lot of work. You need to be able to ask questions of your peers or of instructors. And we don't have time for questions. I'm way over time, so thank you for your patience. I'm about 10 minutes over time, so a little bit long on the presentation, but thank you so much for being here. I'm easy to find. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm an organizer at GDG Cloud Boston, so you can find me there. I have cards up here for both of those things, so please come up and chat with me. I'll stay here for a few more minutes if anybody wants to chat. So thank you so much.